Alrighty, what's up y'all? So as you can see, my bike is partially taken apart. I got a little bit of my fairings over there, sitting on my wife's fancy whatever chairs. Just because I got a new toy, and I think this is pretty cool. I felt like buying something new. One of my dudes on Instagram hit me up because I saw one of his posts and I asked him, where did you get that thing? It's pretty cool. So he got himself a voltmeter with USB, A and C charger all in one. And I replaced my 12-volt socket with it, with this guy. Because normally all I ever do is use my converter to plug in here to charge all my USB devices, except for my wireless quad lock here. And I was like, you know what? I feel like buying something cool, and check this little baby out. Boom. Look at that. Isn't that legit? It is legit because I said it's legit. That's legit. Anyway, the install was not horrible. I had to take my fairings off first before I could try to narrate the video, because I tried with the glasses and I just couldn't. I had to stick my hand up under stuff. I had to stick my head in places. It was a pain in the butt. I couldn't remember how to take my fairings off because I haven't taken my fairings off in a few months. And this guy threaded the way it is. If you can't see it, hopefully I got some good video on my cell phone of it up close. The threads were covered in goop, dirt, grime. Trying to unthread this thing by hand, I was killing my fingers, and I was just getting super frustrated. So I had to take the glasses off and just kill that install from there. And now I just have to talk over the video that I took and try to explain to you how I installed this thing. So if you don't have a 2017 Ninja 1000, you're gonna have to figure out how to take your own fairings off. But I, from the factory, had an adapter. This was covered with a faceplate, and as you can see here, hopefully you can see it, there's an accessory wire run already from the factory, ready for me to install this. Why they don't install this from the factory and I had to buy it separate, no idea. But you can install a heated grip or any type of accessory. It's got a 7.5 amp fuse here in the fuse box, which I already removed, and I taped up those ends because I don't want them to get grimy or dirty. And I removed the fuse because there's no reason to send power to these leads if there's nothing attached to them. Right? I also did not reuse them because these are bullet type connectors, and the type of connectors that came on here were just your normal male and female quick disconnects, and I did not want to mess with this wire because I don't want to cut into the factory harness at all if I don't have to. I don't got a lot of wire to work with. If I start screwing with it, it's going to get shorter and shorter and shorter, and I don't want to deal with that. Speaking of short, the wire that came with this guy, as you can see, has a little bit of color change here in the middle because it was too short. I think it's 23 point some inches. It just got me to about here, right? The device is here, cable's here. So since I have done a ton of electrical work, I got a bag with my electrical stuff in it. I got splicers, I got my crimps, I got soldering iron, I got electrical tape, connectors, and I know how to do this because I install a little bit of electrical stuff on everything that I own, and I've been doing it for years. Myself together a longer cable. I could have bought a longer cable. I could have got one that already had the amp or the fuse in it like this came with. Could have did a lot of things, but I have the skills to make my cable longer. Don't you wish? So I did so, right? Ended up fishing it through here the same way I did my quad lock assembly. Connector. And I also have a crap ton of shrink wrap so to waterproof my connections. All the way up here to this guy. Kind of zip tied a little bit to the quad lock cable that's running back here to my SAE port, this guy, and just to secure it, make sure that I'm not flopping around too much. I gave myself a little bit more to work with in case I had to cut some down, because it's always easier to cut down than to extend, right? Had to pull off this top part of the fairing, just this screw here and a screw here, so I could bend this back to get my big meaty fingers in there to unscrew this guy. They're about the same size. This one is slightly larger in diameter. I did not force it into the hole. I ended up threading it in, screwing it in right, because this guy is keyed, as you can see here at the top. If I want to use this again, I can unscrew this one and just slide it back in there, and that notch will keep this from moving. This does not have that notch. I had to be a little gentle, screwing it in, trying to line it up, and then it does have a very similar backing plate to this, to where you can secure it. You know, I screwed it in, tighten it down by hand. Didn't want it too tight because it is plastic and I don't want to break it. And after that, everything was pretty much golden. Did my routing. The worst part was actually splicing this cable. If you can't see it, I will do some finagling with my cell phone to see if I can get you a closer view, and I'll show you what it looked like before button all this back up. Actually, I don't think I want it. Yeah, this cable's fine. I don't know if I want it sitting on my rectifier. That thing is a little warm. I'll do a little bit more zip tying after this is done before I put this puppy together. But just to show you again, I do appreciate any type of device that has a power button, just because it's just an extra feature I like. I don't like anything that's always on and running, because they will and can be a parasitic draw on your motorcycle. And I don't always put mine on the trickle charger, although I have them, one for each bike. Like you see it over there, little blinky red guy. I usually keep it on the bike when I'm not going to ride for a couple days, a week or so, just so that the next time I come and start my steed up, everything's good to go. But my LED kit, where are you hiding? This guy, if I leave it on, will drain the battery. So being that I'm experienced in having things drain my battery, everything that I own, every accessory that I attach, has a hard power button, so I can shut it off to prevent that from happening. Not much else to talk about in this video. I really wish I could have showed you the physical install, but again, it's not very hard. This is about a 3-centimeter wide hole, which is recommended by the manufacturer. You drill a hole about 3 centimeters wide, drop this puppy into it, find yourself a power and a ground. Hopefully you don't have to daisy chain off anything, and you can go straight to the battery, because that is what I recommend. They do have a fuse here, which is awesome. Fuse is as close to the power source as possible, because you want this thing to die here before it gets all the way up here, hitting all this metal, possibly causing a fire hazard, possibly causing a shock hazard to the rider. You definitely want the power to cut as close to the source as possible. And if you're unfamiliar with electrical work, please get a friend, go to Google. I always recommend never attaching the hot, the red, the positive, whatever you want to call it, until you are done with all of your routing and you're done making your attachments on the distant end. The back of this device, I will show you on my cell phone. It has the blade type connectors. Everything was connected. I routed everything, attached the ground first. It's always good, because if I did not attach the ground, it would be running through this device and coming out, and therefore my ground would now be the hot, be flitting around. Or I would become the ground, and no bueno for that. I don't want to get zapped. Again, I've been zapped quite a few times in life. Sometimes I remember to do smart stuff. Sometimes I don't remember to do the smart stuff. So this time I did. Always last for the hot. If you decide to get one of these, I think it's pretty cool. It's a fairly easy install. You're just going to have to get a longer cable or splice the cable together yourself. Not much else to talk about in this video. Only thing I got left to do is take this puppy for a ride, let it charge some of my random devices, probably just my Insta360, and we'll see how it goes from there. Probably not going to put that in this video. I actually been talking way too long trying to stretch it out anyway, so I'm going to button my steed back up. May or may not go for a ride. Thank you guys for watching. Catch you guys later.